A magnitude 7.3 earthquake struck in Kyushu region in southwestern Japan. It's the same area that was jolted by a powerful quake on Thursday. 11 people have been confirmed dead, while more than 880 people are being treated for injuries. Meteorological agency officials say the quake occurred at around 1:25 a.m. on Saturday, Japan time. The jolt registered an intensity of 6+ on the Japanese seismic scale of 0 to 7 in Kumamoto Prefecture. Aftershocks are continuing. Japan's only working nuclear power plant is also located in Kyushu. Officials say there are no irregularities with the 2 reactors and that they remain in operation. More than 27,000 people have evacuated their homes in Kumamoto. Various utility services have been disrupted. Over 180,000 households are without electricity, and gas lines have been shut off in some areas of the prefecture. The quakes are also affecting transportation. Officials at Kumamoto Airport shut the terminal building after it was damaged by the tremors. They've cancelled all Saturday flights. And rail officials have suspended Shinkansen bullet train services. Officials warn that torrential rain through Sunday could pose a further threat to safety. They're calling on people to be careful of loosened ground and possible landslides. Prime Minister Shinzo Abe called an emergency meeting on Saturday morning and instructed ministers and relevant officials to do their utmost to help people in affected areas.
Today, at 1:25 a.m., the Kumamoto region experienced an earthquake even bigger than the previous one that took place on Thursday. There have been many aftershocks, too. The affected areas are widespread and could become more extensive. I will instruct you on 3 points. 1. All authorities involved, including local governments, must grasp the situation and share information. 2. We will bolster self-defense forces and other rescue personnel. Securing the safety of citizens is our top priority. And we will do all we can to rescue and save lives, lead evacuation efforts, and offer medical services. 3. We will offer information about where and how people can evacuate and take shelter. It should be timely and accurate. I ask that everyone please exercise strong leadership in carrying out your responsibilities.
We are now flying over the village of Minamiaso. I can see where a landslide has occurred. There's a big chunk of debris right there. As I pan my camera, look at the bridge. The landslide has destroyed the bridge. The edge of the bridge is gone. I can clearly see how it was torn off in the quake. I can see debris in many places. We can see buildings that appear to be damaged. Where are they located in relation to the areas where the landslides occurred? Yes, this is where the land gave way. And this is a group of houses. That's where the landslide took place. The situation on the ground is terrible, and this is where the houses are. I see an apartment building whose first floor has collapsed. Rescue personnel are working to find people. I also see a lot of houses whose roof tiles have fallen off. Now that it's getting lighter, I can see residents leaving their houses. We have been here for almost an hour. And I see more people coming out of their houses. And this is new footage from an NHK helicopter crew flying over Minamiaso in Kumamoto Prefecture. We can see a brownish building. It appears to be a house that has extensive damage. And we see people in dark-colored clothes, who appear to be rescue personnel, reaching out to a window. And now, what looks like stairs. It appears to be a destroyed residential building. The first floor looks like it has completely collapsed. And debris from destroyed houses are scattered about. Rescue personnel are entering what was once the second floor of the house through the window. We see people with white gloves approaching the window.
In the wake of Saturday's largest 7.3 magnitude tremor, a Japan Meteorological Agency official is calling on residents in quake-hit areas to exercise extreme caution. He wants them to stay away from potentially hazardous sites. He said strong jolts were felt across a wider area than those struck by the previous quake on Thursday. The official said aftershocks with intensities of up to 6- on the Japanese scale of 0 to 7 could occur over the next several days.
A magnitude 7.3 earthquake has struck the Kyushu region in southwestern Japan, in the same region where a major quake struck on Thursday. There are reports of further injuries in these latest tremors. Meteorological officials say the quake occurred at around 1:25 a.m. Saturday, Japan time. They say the focus was about 12 kilometers deep in Kumamoto Prefecture. The jolt registered an intensity of 6+ on the Japanese seismic scale of 0 to 7 in some parts of the prefecture. The agency issued a tsunami advisory for coastal areas of the Ariake and Yatsushiro seas, but lifted it about an hour later. Japan's only working nuclear power plant is located in the same region of Kyushu. Officials say they have confirmed there are no irregularities with the 2 reactors and that they remain in operation. A magnitude 7.1 earthquake has struck the Kyushu region in southwestern Japan, the same region where there was a major quake on Thursday. The meteorological agency has lifted its tsunami advisory for the area. Meteorological officials say the quake occurred at around 1:25 a.m. on Saturday, Japan time. They say the focus was about 10 kilometers deep in Kumamoto Prefecture. The jolt registered an intensity of 6+ on the Japanese seismic scale of 0 to 7 in some parts of the prefecture. The agency issued a tsunami advisory for coastal areas of the Ariake and Yatsushiro seas, but lifted it about an hour later. Japan's only working nuclear power plant is located in the same region of Kyushu. Officials say they have confirmed there are no irregularities with the 2 reactors and that they remain in operation.
Continuing aftershocks in southwestern Japan are reminding people of the earthquake that struck the region Thursday night. 9 people are dead and more than 1,000 others injured. The magnitude 6.5 quake also registered the highest level of intensity on the Japanese seismic scale. Aftershocks have been rocking the area. Some are nearly as powerful as the first earthquake, and the damage in the region is evident. Buildings have collapsed or being damaged. Authorities are trying to determine how many. The famous Kumamoto Castle was also damaged. It's a government-designated cultural asset. Regular life in the area is on hold. Officials say some 16,000 people have evacuated. Many people in Mashki have gathered at the municipal office to get daily necessities. Self-defense force members are preparing food and supplying water and blankets. Some people had to spend the whole night outside because of the danger of buildings collapsing.
When I went back home this morning, I found my house in a mess. I couldn't even see the floor.
I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. We need to work together.
Various services are still disrupted. About 11,000 houses are without electricity and more than 58,000 without water. The gas supply has been shut off for a part of Kumamoto City for safety reasons. Shinkansen bullet train service is suspended as well. The quake derailed one of the trains, but there were no passengers on board and no one was hurt. Highways cracked and crumbled in many areas. Some sections are closed. Flights have been affected at Kumamoto Airport. The quake struck the region where Japan's only online nuclear plant is located. Officials say there are no irregularities and the 2 reactors at the Sendai plant are operating normally. The quake happened in the Futagawa-Hinagu fault zone. Experts believe the fault lines slipped sideways, causing the strong tremor at Mashiki town. More than 130 aftershocks have been felt in the region. Experts at Japan's meteorological agency are telling people in severely hit areas to brace themselves for further tremors.
The possibility of large tremors with intensities of up to 6- on the Japanese scale will remain for about a week, so please be prepared.
In the light of day, we are getting a clearer picture of the extent of the damage. We're also hearing about stories of rescue. About 6 hours after the quake, a baby girl was rescued from the rubble of a collapsed house. Rescuers gently handed the 8-month-old to emergency officials. They say she is unharmed.
8.5 hours have passed since the major quake. Things have begun to unfold at sunrise. We can see some flattened houses. Their roofs have been torn apart.
One night after the quake, the extent of the damage has become clearer. This video posted on Twitter shows a condominium in Kumamoto. It's been badly damaged. You can see a large crack running through multiple floors of the building. There are also cracks that can be seen in a corridor. In the hardest hit town of Mashiki, a man and his family were trapped when part of their house collapsed. He said they waited for about 2 hours before being rescued.
I was lucky that I could get to an opening free of debris when the house collapsed. I'm glad all my family members got out safely.
9 people are dead and more than 1,000 others were injured in the quake. The magnitude 6.5 earthquake registered the highest level of intensity on the Japanese seismic scale. Many buildings have been destroyed or damaged by the jolt and the numerous aftershocks that followed. Transport systems in the area have been disrupted. The quake derailed one of the Shinkansen bullet trains, but there were no passengers on board and no one was hurt. Highways cracked and crumbled in many areas, causing authorities to close some sections. Flights have also been affected at Kumamoto Airport. The quake struck the region where Japan's only nuclear plant currently online is located. Officials say there are no irregularities and the 2 reactors at the Sendai plant are operating normally. The damage was most severe in the town of Mashiki, just outside Kumamoto City. Experts say the area is near an active fault line and the ground is relatively soft. Most of the collapsed buildings there were old wooden houses.
Japan had a brutal, incredible, unimaginable. I'm sure I got everybody that time. Japan had a brutal earthquake. I can turn that audio is still on. I can play, this is Jan Brooks's video from Miss Milky the Clown.
Hello there, welcome to NHK Newsline. It is Friday, April 15th, 10 a.m. in Japan. Tens of thousands of people in southwestern Japan have fled their homes after a powerful earthquake. At least 9 people have been confirmed dead. More than 950 others are injured, and the aftershocks continue. The magnitude 6.5 quake hit Kumamoto Prefecture Thursday night. Officials say more than 44,000 people have fled since.
Now, it goes on, but the point I'm trying to make here, and Missing Sky's got a great video up there too about the earthquake, a really nice one. What you got to realize with that earthquake, and let's bring up this earthquake. This was CNN 6.2. There's like different spots all around the zone. There's been 120 aftershocks. Some as strong as the original earthquake. Now, E&E News is reporting from major media in Asia that Japan is using their new scale, their new seismic scale, which is a 7. It doesn't go to 10, it goes to 7. And some places in Japan, on the south end of Japan, of the island, which is 1,000 kilometers away from Tokyo. Tokyo felt it. It was felt in South Korea, in the southeast side of Korea. They were rocking down there. But Tokyo, the buildings were rocking. And so the original reports coming out, the NRC in Japan ran out and told everybody, oh no, the plants are running normal, there's no abnormalities. Well, that don't mean jack shit. For starters, it was nighttime. You had a skeleton crew on. And so how would you know if any pipes were broken until the damage showed up later? When it's and now Sendai has a MOX facility running, right? As a MOX. At Sendai. It shook the buildings 1,000 miles away. Now we find out 1,000 people are injured. Now we find out that highways were torn apart for just incredible stretches. Huge chunks are closed. The country was shifted 4 or 5 or 6 feet. And that this was equated as powerful as the 2011 earthquake. And that's not... Now, they keep saying no tsunami was issued because it was right on their land. They don't bother telling you that part. They always like to throw that out there so everybody goes back to sleep. Not everybody, but a chunk of them will go back to sleep. Oh, no tsunami, nothing to worry about. See, you can see where the base of it is right at a city, a big major city, 750,000 people. So all the focus is on that. But if you look at the wider spectrum of 120 aftershocks, many of them were over 6, which is serious. This is friggin' serious. A 6 is serious. Many of them, but when we're talking about a 6 out of 7, we're not talking about a 6 out of 10. We're talking about a scale of 7. And so the nuclear power plants, to come out and say that they were okay, and they're still running, there's only a couple down there, you got to reconsider that there's also fuel pools stored on these sites. There's common spent fuel pools stored on these sites. You got to remember these reactors are most likely running on around 5 million pounds. And so every 2 years they took that out and either put it on the roof or put it in a on-site storage pool. And if they were damaged, that is no different than a running reactor going down. You can shut down every nuclear reactor on the planet, but when you have an earthquake, you still have to have huge fears that something happened to the pole and you can't get power in there. Because within 24 hours, you got a meltdown going on, and you can't get in there to get near the other poles and try to salvage them without sacrificing people. Nuclear is built upon sacrifices and predicated upon lies like bananas and potato chips and walking in the sunshine. Now, the earthquake is devastating. In the immediate effects of an earthquake, the damage is visual. You can't see radiation or smell it or touch it or feel it or hear it or pick it up, but you can pick it up by breathing it in. You can pick it up by getting it on your clothing. You can pick it up by having it in your food or your water, or on your vehicle, or on your toys for your children, or on your handrails. But you can't see it to pick it up, to get rid of it. but you can pick it up and sequester it. Now, these particles are so small they can get through your receptors. These are 1/10,000th of a millionth of a meter. And I have great fears because just because a running power plant is 100 miles away, storage facilities are all around that area. Nuclear waste is all over that place. And that 70 pounds create more atoms than all the natural atoms in the ocean. And that a pound of this stuff atomized in aerosol is enough atoms to kill every animal and human on the planet in increments over time. Because cancer takes a long time to manifest, to diagnose, but your body attacks it for decades normally if you only got a small amount. If you only got a single atom in your body attacks that relentlessly for the next couple of decades and builds a sarcophagus, a tumor, and we call it a tumor, but it builds a sarcophagus around it to contain, because radiation will beat right out of your body. Man-made, natural stuff doesn't do that. Natural stuff can only travel 1/10,000th, a millionth of a millimeter. Man-made stuff will travel out your body and into somebody else. And then it'll wreck all your chromosomes and DNA at the same time. Natural doesn't do that. Natural is so weak and so benign, and so it's throughout the solar system. It's the same. Natural stuff, there's about 160 of them. And there's around 2,000 man-made stuff. We kind of lost track what I wanted to show you here. Let's keep moving, rock and rolling. Or did I lose track? Hang on. So here you got CNN. This guy here is a meteorologist. And then they bring him up for all kinds of stuff where he and this dizzy witch here, they inject her. Now look at this. 756,000 were in a violent or a severe quake. Wait a second. This was a 7 out of a 7 scale. This was extreme. This is 40,000 people won't even go back into their houses. That lived out in a field all night rather than go anywhere in any building. That's not extreme. That's not violent. What about all the people who died? Did they not suffer violence? What about, and you knew that, you talk about that in the show. But that's your media. The media didn't bother telling you that the scale that they're talking about, a 6.2, is based upon a 7 scale for that particular town. But some places there were 7 out of a 7. Out of a 7. So this earthquake was just as bad as the one that happened in 2011, except it didn't have a tidal wave. So that means it was traveling at 9,000 miles per hour. That means it shook the country for minutes. That would also mean that people couldn't stand up. And we got all of these reports. It was felt in Tokyo where rock buildings. It was felt in South Korea. There's 120 aftershocks. They're still warning people for the next week. There could be aftershocks just as strong as a 7 out of a 7. That broke roads and buildings and dropped structures that have been there from the 15th century, that have been reinforced, that have been hardened, that have been updated, that have had tens of millions of dollars spent on them, still crumble. But all the nuclear waste sites and nuclear power plants and the current running power plant in Sendai with MOX fuel, no worries. Well, nothing happened on the gauge, Dana. Well, you could have broke lines. You could have other aftershocks coming right behind it and take out the power supply. Why not take that opportunity and shut down the power plant for a week until the aftershocks come to a stop? Because then you have to admit that nuclear plants can be affected by earthquakes. And you don't care about people. Look what you've done to the rest of Japan already with nuclear fallout. Look how you come out and berated the mothers for being concerned about their children being emaciated and not being able to sleep and throwing up and having nosebleeds for months non-stop. And living in environments with 1 million becquerels a square meter and telling them that they're having phobia fears and telling them they're hurting their children. When these people are thugs, these people are morons that got the job because they're thugs. Just like the guys, people you see in front of me on that. These are despicable people. But nobody was in a violent, yet all kinds of people died and 1,000 people injured, and they just sent in 3,000 troops, but it's no big deal. So to me, that's a big deal. To me, that means they're up to something. And whatever that is, I can assure you it's not going to be any good.
NHK World's Naoki Makita is in Kumamoto City. Naoki, what are things like that?
Even through Kumamoto Prefecture to get here.
Major streets leading to the city center were congested. I could see emergency trucks and cars loaded with supplies. As you saw earlier, many people haven't returned home. There's concern about the continuing aftershocks and fear about being inside buildings. And even for those who were uninjured or whose houses weren't damaged, there is shock. Behind me is the famous Kumamoto Castle. It was developed into a fort in 17th century and is an important symbol for all citizens. But as you can see, it's a symbol that's been severely damaged. The quake brought down large sections of the famous walls. One of the castle towers is also damaged.
The collapse of the walls is very serious. We have never experienced this before.
There's worry things could get worse. Weather officials are predicting rain in the area starting Saturday. That could further damage buildings. Naoki Makita, NHK World, Kumamoto.
What happened to you? I ain't trying to be rude, I'm just saying, like, wow.
Go time. You're about to feel it's easy to hurt. Your teammate cremated, homie, he in the dirt. I see it ain't worth leaving unless you're leaving in verse. Now you should see the last team was defeated, they had it worse. Yo, go dominated, had them leaving a hearse. What you got, Doc? Poppy till you scream for a nurse. And see me, may see me these calm and peaceful at first, but yo, it's go time, go time, go time, go time.
Step in my lane, I perfected the game. Leave you limping like a pimp, not stepping the same. Rocking your brain till your neck is in pain. I'm off the hinges, the hook, and dissected the chain. Never have you ever been in the presence of someone who is so much better than your average competitor. I severely severe your ego, amigo. I'ma be your worst nightmare. Beware, I'm never letting up. It's go time, like green lights and street bikes. So leave my arena or believe I will make you wish you had when you had the chance. Only ride you leave now when is the ambulance. Man to man, it's time for you to panic. Think you untouchable, so is the Titanic. Cold as icebergs, I heard you can't handle it. Bring it, whatever you got for it is damn it. It's go time.
About to feel it's easy to hurt. Your teammate cremated, homie, he in the dirt. I see it ain't worth leaving unless you leave it in first. Now you should see the last team was defeated, they had it worse. Yo, it's go dominated, had them leaving a hearse. What you got, Doc? Poppy till you scream for a nurse. And see, we may see me these calm and peaceful at first, but yo, it's go time, go time, go time, go time.
He got a problem, his problem's in front of him. Full bottle of Ritalin, couldn't hold his adrenaline. He got that fire inside, and it's killing him. Crowd going wild, his style, he got it dialed in. Anticipation, waiting to make his mark. Play his part, coach put him in, cause he got the heart of a champion. On the go like a transient, about to prove to the world just what kind of man he is. His palms sweaty, body heavy. Moment he prepared all his life for when he ready. It's here now, the time is just coasting. Everything stops and moves in slow motion.
It's go time, so don't waste no time. It's fight, hold on tight, don't let go time.
Come out swinging, bringing everything you got. Perfecting your profession, sweating every single drop. You done waited long enough and now it's time for you to eat, compete, and be a beast. Competition is your meat, so feast, but don't sleep. Keep your eyes wide open. If being on top is hot, then I'm smoking. Choking out competitors, predator till they tap out. Terminating haters like a Raider playing Smash Mouth. Bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, I go hard. Game 7, 4th quarter, I'm the dude you can't guard. 4th and long, it's on, I'm too strong. And you belong in a thong, so move on. One of a kind, the greatest of all time. No need to rewind, check your watch and you'll find that it's go time.
You're about to feel a season of hurt. Your teammate cremated, homie, he in the dirt. You see it ain't worth leaving unless you leave it in first. Now you should see the last team was defeated, they had it worse. It's go dominated, had them even a hearse. What you got, Doc? Poppy till you scream for an earth. See, we made seeming these calm and peace for the first. But yo, it's go time, go time, go time, go time.